Henrietta Lacks was a woman who had died on October 4th, 1951 from cervical cancer. She had left something behind that was magical and had changed science forever. What Henrietta had left was some of her cells that were able to reproduce and never die. These cells were discovered by George Guy, who had been trying to grow cells for a long time until he received Henrietta's cells. What she had left behind was a wonderful impact on science, but not on her family. Henrietta Lacks had gotten cervical cancer at the age of 31, and on February 6, 1951, she had gone to Johns Hopkins Hospital for her first cancer treatment. The only document Henrietta had signed was an operation permit that said, "I hereby give consent to the staff of the Johns Hopkins Hospital to perform any operative procedures and under any anesthetic, either local or general, that they may deem necessary in the proper surgical care and treatment of," and she signed her name. She had spent 2 days at Johns Hopkins and the second morning at Johns Hopkins. She was taken to this room where there had been many white doctors. Henrietta Lacks had been laying on a table with her legs on stirrups. She had been under anesthetic. She had been unconscious during the time doctors have been examining her cervix. See the tumor. Going to be ready to treat her tumor, but before they had begun treating her tumor, they never informed her that Sidney was collecting samples or asked her about being a donor. Dr. Lawrence Warren Jr. had taken a sharp knife and had shaved 2 dime-sized pieces of her cervix. Then they continued on with the treatment. But they had never informed Henrietta after her treatment about Dr. Headley taking some of her cervix cells without her permission or a consent form. After her treatment, Henrietta had gone home and continued with her day. While she continued her day, Henrietta's cells were being transported to George Guy. If they can continue to reproduce and never die, once the cells mated, George Guy, he thought, the cells were just another that were going to die. But as his assistant, seeing that one day the cells had reproduced into 2, she thought they might die. But she had separated the 2 cells into 2 different tubes. The next day, there were 3 in each tube. Then George Guy's assistant had continued the process and told Guy that the cells were not dying. After he had discovered her cells were immortal, he informed Peggy but not Henrietta. Before her death, Guy had given her immortal cells to scientists that wanted to do different tests, research, and experiments on them. Guy did not want the word to get out about whose cells they were. So he had his assistant name the cells the first 2 letters and the last 2 letters of her name. And the cells were going to be around the entire world. But Henrietta never signed a form that let anyone take her cells from her body. Then the information that was found was in the book of Immortal Life of Henrietta Lacks. Like in a part of her book, Who Told You Could Take My Spleen? John Moore had gone through the same similar thing Henrietta Lacks had gone through. John Moore had gone through something similar Henrietta went through, but this had been with his spleen filled with malignant blood cells. John had gotten surgery to remove his spleen. After his surgery, he had moved to Seattle, but always came back to LA for follow-up exams. One of the appointments John had gone to in 1983, he had already signed this consent form saying, "I do/do not." Moore had circled do. Then years later, Moore had received the same form again, and this time he had thought about it and circled do not. When John had signed that form, he thought about He thought about if God was just using John for something more than just followers. Then, after his appointment that day, he went to his parents' house and the phone was ringing. It was gold. He said that you must have signed the form wrong by mistake, and he told John to come back and fix it. But John never came back to fill out the document, so God sent it to him, and Moore didn't fill it out. I don't know what her cells had done for many lives, but other people are grateful for her cells that had helped find vaccines for diseases. Many people have been able to get a vaccine to prevent diseases to rage out of control. The scientists, medicists, and other fields of science that wanted to help study her cells were able to do research and find cures, vaccines that can help prevent diseases. Some of these people that had used her cells to make vaccines for polio and have been used in vitro fertilization. These cells have been used to find vaccines for these things and also others. But with what that had happened, millions of people have pleasure for what they had accomplished with these cells. Henrietta Lacks was able to save many people's lives from dying and getting sick, but other than her own family couldn't do that. And that's all, guys.